accept you as a student. Cut!
Right.
Take the gate.
Well, that's gay.
Yeah. Both of those, Sharon Lou. And action.
When will I see you again?
Title of my favorite soul song.
What?
Nothing. He tells me he's done.
How long do you think that might take?
Well, that, my dearest.
Ichigua.
11 to 1, guys.
Right up there. Yeah. Well, guys, we're still not. We're in kind of a funky place. We're still not selling.
And then just rush again. Oh, no. I think you should even kind of say it as you're with the fishing.
Okay.
And down.
Okay.
Then she laughs after you say your line. And then you like, I give you a
Okay.
Then she pushes you down.
I got it. Go! Are you guys next?
Yes?
You promise to do it bad?
Yes?
Okay, get the Steadicam out.
Quinn, you can just stand behind him and shake the camera.
So we'll poke vision in the eye.
Stand behind him, but that's great.
Wait a minute. I'll take your diameter out. Then it's guaranteed to be bad. What lens would you like? And action.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to my face that I look like when I'm posting on social media at the beginning of this, because I clearly didn't know we were starting. It's fine.
Hi,
Waiting.
everybody. Welcome to I Think You'd Be Into It, the podcast about your faves. I'm your host, Brandon Beck.
And I'm your other host, Beth Scorzato, who's still posting about this on social media. Welcome.
And that was Miserlou by Dick Dale and the Deltones, not the theme song to today's Quentin Tarantino movie, but the theme song to another Quentin Tarantino movie, because I couldn't think of any Kill Bill specific bits.
Excellent. Perfect.
So joining us tonight on this podcast without honor or humanity is a longtime friend of the show. God, I think he's at this point done the show more than anybody else. He did our episodes on the Mountain Goats, our first yearly installment on Cats, Hamilton.
Cats. And he's back again.
Didn't he do one more?
Nope.
Huh. Well.
That might have just been a fever dream you had, or a conversation you two had.
Could have been.
Also a possibility.
Well, either way, here he is, Alex Fossella. Alex,
hi.
Welcome to the show.
I've sworn revenge on every other one of your podcast guests. So
okay,
that's fair.
So everybody needs to be put on notice.
Mm-hmm.
They'll just need to make sure none of them go into a church that looks like the Alamo.
Pretty much. I do also kind of like the idea of what if for when the audio of this goes to iTunes, if my name is beeped every time, like Beatrix Ghetto. This would please me.
That is a good bit that I do not have the commitment to doing. Unfortunately.
Why?
Very fair.
Why has Facebook made it so difficult to post things on pages?
Yeah,
How's
Zuck.
it-
What up? What's your problem?
So how's it going, buddy?
I'm pretty good, as much as we can be when the air is poison, you know.
Yeah.
Hey, we live in LA where the air is dead people, so.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're not just talking about the smog.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yep.
love
Yeah, no,
LA.
literally dead people.
But I'm pretty good. Working
I
on
wish-
my
Alright.
musical every day. Can't do stand, so finding other ways.
Is it
to
the
be busy.
Frenchie musical?
No, but
But
once
that was so good.
once I find an eccentric billionaire, that thing's happening. No, I'm writing a musical parody of The Patriot,
Okay.
Mel Gibson film.
That's very good.
'Tis the year for musical parodies. Brandon and
Mhm.
his buddy are doing a musical parody of Les Mis, maybe? I don't know. I just eavesdrop sometimes.
not a parody. A canonical
Okay.
sequel to Les Miserables called Dos Miserables.
As opposed to an Elseworld sequel.
Exactly. Which is that Spanish soap opera Los Miserables that I saw a billboard for a few years ago.
Yeah, that's Les Mis 616.
And this is Les Mis 420.
Yeah.
So, before we get into this week's toe pick at hand, why don't we do a quick round of things we're into this week? Hey, Alex, I remember you saying you had one.
I mean, yeah, you said you had one, so that's on you, dude.
Yeah, I come to your show way too prepared.
You come to our show exactly. Every single person who comes to the show exactly as prepared as they want to be, and we appreciate whatever level of preparedness that is.
Yeah,
That's all.
I appreciate this. Right now I'm very into the musical Hedwig and the Angry Inch.
Yeah, I got into that in high school.
5 inches back.
Yeah, it's so good. I'd known what it was since college, but I'd never actually listened to it until we started doing Broadway Baby, and then I just had always been kind of meaning to get around to it, and vaguely knew what the story was. I didn't realize that the show was An Evening with Hedwig and the Angry Inch. I thought it was a narrative show, but then I just put the album on. And I was like, oh my God, every one of these songs slaps so hard. And then I watched the show online.
It's true,
and
they
the
do.
whole show is
Yeah.
really great, and it's got all these layers, and it's so good. And then every actor can kind of put their own spin on Hedwig. I love it so much. I'm obsessed with it.
The movie is fine.
I agree. It's oddly enough for the movie of Hedwig and the Angry Inch, it uses a lot of visual clues that are not quite clear. It's a bit too subtle for its own good for a Hedwig and the Angry Inch movie.
That's
But,
fair.
like, if you know the show, it makes more sense.
I think it's just one of those shows that just by the way it's designed and structured, it like is way better in a live context.
Yeah,
I saw a local North Carolina version.
Oh, I can't imagine that was great.
See, here's the thing. I liked it more than the movie.
The movie, I'm impressed that they managed to make a narrative movie out of all the bits from the show. So I don't think the movie's bad, but the movie is not my favorite. It should be. I'd love if they would remake it just as like a
Snow
little.
Repo, the genetic opera. Sorry, we're talking about shows I was into in high school, so.
Fuck Repo the Genetic Opera.
I would love if it was remade as a concert film. When we can do it again, like rent out Irving Plaza and just do like another Hedwig movie, but it's just the show, but in like a little rock club. I think would be really cool.
Now, do you?
I could see that working, yeah.
Do you have a version you prefer? Do you prefer the original John Cameron Mitchell recording, or the Neil Patrick Harris recording that came out a few years ago?
So I have liked most people that played Hedwig. John Cameron Mitchell is the best for me. I liked Andrew Rannells quite a bit from Book of Mormon.
Oh fuck,
Neil
that would have
Patrick
been
Harris-
good.
Such a crush on
Yeah,
him.
it's
Ugh,
great. It's great.
Disgusting.
Everyone
Tay
does.
Diggs,
man.
Tay Diggs, I didn't get to see because it's not bootlegged online, but
Oh,
he
Tay
did
Diggs
play the
did
role.
it?
Yeah,
Fuck,
and then
that would have been good.
Neil Patrick Harris, I think, was fine. Like I don't think he was bad, but he's not quite acidic enough to make those songs work for me. He's not quite like punk enough.
That's
so
fair.
Make the
I
chat
think
go away.
he's good, but I wish he wasn't the one on the Broadway album.
That's fair, but I think that's one of
Yeah.
those things where like you get the Broadway album because it's in PH.
Yes.
You
But
know,
I think John Cameron Mitchell is GOAT on this one.
There was I forget what it was a benefit for, but there was a benefit album that came out
Looking at my phone like your dad in church. Sorry.
that came out a million years ago. That was a covers record of songs from Hedwig. They Might Be Giants did. Oh God, I can't remember which
Wicked
song
Little Town?
it is. No, they did one of the weirder ones. The only one I remember offhand is Frank Black, Francis Black, whatever he's calling himself at that particular moment. Did what's the real country one? Sugar Daddy.
Sugar Daddy.
Yeah, did
See,
Sugar Daddy?
I thought he would go with Exquisite Corpse because that sounds like a Pixie song. Or yeah, it's Exquisite. And then
he really fuzzed it up. Like it sounds like a slightly faster Pixies track.
Yeah.
Like
And
Pixies if they used open chords.
Okay, if you told me that They Might Be Giants wrote Wicked Little Town, I would believe you. It's a very kind of quiet, quirky song that I could see John Leno doing it, but if it did something else, I'd be interested.
The track list for this thing is actually looking at it now is fucking crazy. They Might Be Giants did The Long Grift. Look What You've Done, You Gigolo.
Okay.
You've also got Rufus Wainwright doing Origin of Love, Slater Kenny and Fred Schneider from the B-52s doing Angry Inch.
Oh boy.
Bob Mould doing Nailed, Polyphonic Spree doing Wig in a Box, Stephen Colbert on there doing Ladies and Gentlemen, whatever that is. Yoko Ono and Yola Tango. Wicked Little Town is Ben Queller with Ben Folds and Ben Lee, aka The Bens.
What did Yoko do?
Yoko Ono teamed up with Yola Tango.
Break up the Beatles.
Oh, fair. They did Hedwig's Lament and Exquisite Corpse.
Okay.
All right.
Who did Midnight Radio?
I don't know, and I just closed the window.
I don't know. I love you both, but just text him the track listing. Brandon, what are you into this week?
So the thing I'm into this week is Cyber Shadow.
Oh, is that what that game's called?
Yeah.
I've been watching him play it.
Yeah, Cyber Shadow is a game that just dropped on PS4 and Xbox and PC. It feels like it's a fucking shoe-in for a Switch game, but maybe eventually. It's a Ninja Gaiden style platformer that is done in that sort of like 8-bit, 16-bit style, but with a lot of like modern touches that make it feel like a lot more of a modern game. It is to these type of games what Shovel Knight was to, DuckTales type platformers.
So very homage, but also done in 8-bit, but also a different game. You said that to me yesterday, and I don't know what it means.
Okay, it's the equivalent of like. Do you remember that game Yooka-Laylee that came out a couple years ago?
I do remember Yooka-Laylee.
It
was a studio sequel to Banjo and Kazooie because it had basically all the same gameplay elements.
Yeah, which like this is essentially that kind of idea, but applied to a very specific, very difficult kind of NES platformer that uses a lot of like wall jumps and like precision. But it's got a really cool vibe. You play a cyber ninja who's going through Mecha City and fighting all sorts of like crazy ass.
Ooh, very Final Fantasy.
Yeah, right. MEKA. No, a Mechatropolis maybe.
Ooh.
Or like last night I fought a fucking like cyber dragon. It's super fun. It's one of those games that's like real hard, but like in a rewarding way, not in a punishing way. Though some of the reviews I've read say it gets a little punishing towards the end in a way that kind of isn't as good. But for the first like, I'm probably 5 hours into this thing of what's I think an 8-9 hour game. It's super fun, and like if you're into retro platformers, it's worth checking out. Plus, it's only $20 on the, I almost said the eShop, but PlayStation eShop, whatever it's fucking called.
PlayStation Shop.
PSN.
God, you
great
like how I made you
fucking
both go
soundtrack
first?
too. Real good soundtrack. Yeah. What about you? What about you, Beth?
Actually, okay, no, you know what I am into? Because I watched all of it. Well, no. Now is not the moment to dive into my journey watching Justice League, but hey, you guys can see that on Twitter if you want. But I did watch Justice League the other night. No, I actually really enjoyed. So back when quarantine started, they did the BBC pretty quickly did a show with David Tennant and Michael Sheen and their partners and a couple other people called Staged, I think. That's like these it's them as actors in quarantine, like still rehearsing their play, but of course, like there's more to it than that. It just becomes a different story. But anyway, I really wanted to watch it when it first came out, but I couldn't get a VPN that would let me watch it on the BBC iPlayer. And then I tried to download it, and it just not enough people were torrenting it. But hey, it's on Hulu now, and it's only like 6 episodes because it's an English TV show, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. As much as, you know, quarantine shows have been really hit or miss, as opposed to like the Parks and Rec quarantine show that just made everybody really uncomfortable. This show really feels like it took its lessons rather than like trying to go on the fly and like figure out how to do it. It took its lessons, I think, from like web series and things like the Lizzie Bennet Diaries, because like it feels very authentic. It doesn't feel like you're like watching a Zoom conversation. I mean, of course it helps that David Tennant and Michael Sheen are both just fucking phenomenal. And they're also just playing exaggerated versions of themselves. So I don't know. I really enjoyed it. It's on Hulu now. Can highly recommend. Staged. That's what I'm into this week. Although I think I watched it last week, but who knows? Time has no meaning.
Oh yeah, time doesn't mean time meant nothing, never what I can.
Is that in Kill Bill? Or do you still not know any Kill Bill songs? Are there Kill Bill songs?
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's,
Welcome to I Think You'd Be Into It, the podcast where sometimes Beth has watched the source material.
There's that one that Nancy Sinatra. My baby shot me down. That thing.
I don't know if that's a bit or not.
No, that's a real
the
song.
opening song. It's actually very, very good.
And there's I'm trying to remember what's on the soundtrack now.
You know with
him.
Well, you
Some
referenced
clips.
the title of one, but didn't do the riff. That's the one that has retroactively become a hit because of the movie.
Yeah.
You referenced the title without doing the riff, and I'm very impressed.
Yeah, that was the only song title I remember. There's that one track by the 5-6-7-8s that's just like rockabilly noise.
The Vonage, whatever, that it became a phone commercial.
Yeah.
That was a weird moment.
A boss I hated had that as her ringtone, and it stressed me out every time.
In the comments, we have Rick Scale says the 5-6-7-8s. It was the band playing during the bloodbath in the first one.
Yes.
Oh.
So
Nice.
So okay. So then tell me, Alex, what is this movie about? Because as far as I know, it's just okay. Quentin. I will full disclosure. Quentin Tarantino is very hit or miss for me. I know you're a huge fan of his work and you like many of his movies. I like some of them.
That's fair.
I also have a weird. Okay, you ever have a person that just ruins another person for you?
Yes.
I had an old coworker that kind of ruined Quentin Tarantino for me
Gotcha.
because she was like super into him in the like. He'd be very. She like she would like go to bars that she had like seen on Twitter that he was at wearing her like weirdest fucking sexy ass hoe shoes.
Okay.
Like she wanted that man to suck on her toes and she wanted everyone to know it.
Okay.
She ruined Josh Groban for me too. So, you know, she's a pretty equal opportunity terrible person.
If you want to get into Josh Groban, listen to Natasha Pierre and the Great Comet of 1812 because he is great in that
that was a
show.
Groban thing? I didn't know that was a Groban thing.
He was off Broadway. It was the creator Dave Malloy, and then he played the role of Pierre on Broadway.
Oh, I really wanted to see that, and then it closed like right before the last time we went back to New York.
Yeah, that show was so good it made me start reading War and Peace. So, yep.
I don't know if that's an endorsement.
Everyone dunks on that book for being long. No one ever talks about the fact that it's good.
No. I don't dunk on it for being long. I dunk on it for being a boring ass Russian book.
I liked it quite a bit. I'm not done with it, but I like it quite a bit so far. But anyway, so
I just like dunking on the Russians.
Okay, that I can get behind, especially in this political climate.
That's fair.
Yes.
So is this it's 2003, so it's not one of his first ones.
No, this is as it advertises itself inside itself, the fourth film by Quentin Tarantino. Because
it's
that man does not have an
self-referential.
ego
Yeah,
at all.
why does he get to do that?
Because he did it and no one stopped him. Pretty much.
Basically, the Elon Musk theory.
Pretty much.
No one stopped him.
The Trump presidency too.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, but
little bit.
hey, that's over. We're fucking
Yes.
done with that shit here.
Yay, and we'll never
Just
have
like you
any
could
problems
get-
from it again.
Nope.
Just like my promise to you was that you could listen to every episode of I Think You'd Be Into It in January and not hear about the insurrection because we recorded them all before it. We're not talking
just
about
you
it here.
wait until we start recording new ones.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh, that's true. Oh, I forgot Lucy. I did know Lucy Liu was in this. I love her.
So, what was the exact question again? I keep getting.
I'm sorry. I got distracted and was just like, I don't know. Like, what is it about this movie as opposed to, I know you're a big fan of a lot of his movies.
Yeah.
But like, what is it about this one that's like so special? Not just for you, but I feel like it's the one that's like captured the zeitgeist in a big way other than like pop culture. Not pop culture, Pulp Fiction.
Yeah. So I can't quite speak for why other people like it, but just for myself, Kill Bill is special to me for a few reasons. One, it's the first of his movies that I saw, and it's the movie that made me care about movies as an art form, because I'd never seen anything like when I was a little kid, I liked The Lion King and Star Wars, and that was kind of it. And then I sort of fell out of touch with movies for a long time.
You don't need much more than that, though, really.
Yeah, pretty much. And then I saw Kill Bill, and just this entire new, like, it made me realize, like, oh, movies are like a thing, not just like a thing I can put in and then like do other stuff. So like, it was very important for me, like on a journey to becoming a film fan. But Kill Bill resonates so much with me and still does resonate with me for two reasons. One, it is arguably the most meta movie ever made without being obnoxiously meta, because it is an experiment, I feel, in can you make a what?
Oh, Brandon's gonna argue with you about Wes Anderson, I'm sure.
Jay and Silent Bob reboot. And I rest my case, Your Honor.
I said without being obnoxious.
Ah, there it is.
Fair.
There it is.
I love you, Kevin Smith.
Nucci
I did not
Boochies.
like that movie. Yeah.
Same.
Yeah. Anyway, so it is an experiment in a movie. Can a movie be a different genre every scene, sometimes more than one genre in the same scene, while still serving the story? And the answer is yes, it can. Over 2 volumes and 4 hours, because that movie, and the reason why I keep coming back to it so often is A, because I have nostalgia for it, B, because it's just a fun movie, and C, because the more movies I watch in my life and I come back to it, I understand more of what it's been trying to tell me this whole time.
Okay.
Yeah,
Speak
so,
more
like,
on that.
What has Kill Bill been telling you?
Yeah. Aside from Toe's good.
I just mean like it's a love letter to literally every kind of movie. Like it even becomes a sci-fi movie for a minute at the end. It's every genre at the same time. And so it's been trying to communicate with me different genres and subgenres particularly that I didn't process in the moment seeing it before, before I knew about something. Like I didn't realize like redneck movies were a thing. And I just watched the scene with Bud and his strip club boss and thought, oh, this is a really funny scene. It arguably shouldn't even be there. You'll take it from my cold dead hands. It's too funny. But now that I kind of have seen like Walking Tall and stuff like that, Killer Joe and those kind of like Southern sort of movies, and then watch back, I'm like, oh, it's that vibe. So every time this movie is another thing, and once I get that thing in my head, I go back and go, oh, that's what that was. And like I said,
think Tarantino's movies tend to do that,
yeah,
like intentionally, in the same way that like Simpsons does for a lot of people kind of in our age group of like, you saw this thing which is full of references to other stuff that you didn't know were references at the time. And then as you're more engaged or more, as you come to be more familiar with things, it like makes rewatching it so much more fulfilling. 'Cause it's like, oh, that's where that came from.
Yeah. And I would argue that literally anyone besides Quentin Tarantino who watches this movie, something goes over their head. Literally everyone except the person who made it, just because there's so much of it and it's so dense, but in a good way. And it never stops being fun. It never stops being a fun movie.
So, for those of us who maybe didn't watch it, what is this movie about?
I could just lie to you right now.
You could.
Okay,
I have some sense.
okay. Let's
First off,
play
wait.
two truths and a lie about the plot of
I do
the
have
plot of Kill
Wikipedia
Bill.
open. I did not read it
Then
yet.
close the window. We are going to play two truths and a lie about Kill Bill plot points. Alex,
boy.
if you want to go first.
Okay.
It seems like you're ready. You seem like you really want to do it, or at least
Oh,
it
no,
seems like
I
you've got
have-
a lie.
I have nothing. I was hoping he would have one.
Oh,
I have also nothing, but I'm gonna pretend like I did real quick right now.
Okay.
Okay. So Kill Bill is a movie about. Brandon, you go first. I'm too tired to improvise.
yeah, right.
That's fair.
Just somebody tell me what the movie's
So,
about. Why is
Kill
it so
Bill
hard?
is the story of the bride, aka Uma Thurman, who, through some series of I don't remember exactly what happens, winds up in a coma, and she had been like the favorite assassin of this dude Bill, who was like I think a crime boss or something. But he like double crosses her at some point.
And that's how she got in the coma.
And she
It's a
went into the
revenge story,
coma.
from what I gather.
Yeah, and then she comes out of the coma, and then like
Uma
gets her
throws
strength
it up.
back, restores a 1985 like A-Team style racer van in the yellow with the black thing, which matches her her outfit that she wears, and then she goes to try to take out Bill and all of his lackeys, including Michael Madsen, Lucy Liu.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I didn't listen to you. I'm on the Wikipedia page, but I mean, basically, like, look, there's a
The lie
buy.
was the Sprinter
I'm all.
van. The lie was the van.
You
She
weren't
d- there's
Oh, I
far
wasn't
off, though, 'cause
listening
she
to the
soups
van.
up a car. Oh, she doesn't. Soup it up.
She does.
I didn't
yeah,
hear
she
you
has a
say
car.
Sprinter van. I was gonna say she does soup up a car. I'm pretty sure, but I didn't.
say
I
Sprinter
didn't hear
van,
you
but
say
like
Sprinter van.
1985, like A-Team van, whatever those are fucking.
Okay,
called.
but I would believe that she messed with an 85 car. Look, no one's saying Uma Thurman isn't hot all the time.
No, why would anyone ever say that?
Yeah, that would
So,
be.
like, if the whole
categorically
movie
true.
is just Uma Thurman kicks the shit out of people, I'm here for it.
It is
Oh, that's
absolutely-
basically what
honest.
it is.
It is that with also feelings. Like it never.
Okay.
You never see a part of this movie, I feel, that you don't care about the emotional stakes, even when it's just her murdering 88 people.
Yeah. Oh, is that
I mean,
it? 88?
there aren't really 88 of them. They just thought it sounded cool. But
I mean, I don't know. In group scenes, they don't always like. That also just feels like the kind of really specific stat that like film nerds would know about, like that you could look up. Like, how many people does the bride kill in Kill Bill Volume 1? I'm sure if I Googled that right now, I could get an answer.
yeah, I'm sure there's a kill count.
I'm
but
sure someone has counted.
It's because the gang she kills is called the Crazy 88s. But then later we find out there weren't actually 88 of them. They're just jackasses, and they thought it sounded awesome.
That's
Yeah.
pretty funny.
Yeah.
I have
but
now
yeah,
thrown into the video stream a photo of Quentin Tarantino, skinny dipping.
That's
Oh,
not
I've seen
skinny
that-
dipping,
Or
thank
almost
God.
skinny, almost skinny.
I've
It's
dipping.
seen
just
that
swimming.
picture. It's
I made you
upsetting.
a whole other background, and this is what you choose to put on top of us. God.
I'll switch over that now.
Well, the only answer I got when I Googled that was only 40 actors are credited to the Crazy 88, although most of the Crazy 88 members fight using katanas. 3 do not. 1 member throws 2 axes.
Pretty awesome.
So we keep getting distracted.
Oh, here we go though. According to the page, according to it looks like the estimate is 70. According to one page, it's 70. According to movie body counts, the bride's total is 76.
So he ripped us off with 4.
So 76.
So Killian Bill.
Yes.
Killian
what,
Billiam.
What Killian Billiam? Who's my favorite SNL cast member for who was only there for 1 season.
Yeah, before he was killed by Uma Thurman.
But he got to be Launchpad later, so that all worked out.
It was
for him.
really good. Yeah.
So what was it about Killian Billiam that has stuck with you for so long?
Like I said, part of it is the fact that I saw it young. It was the first movie of his that I saw, and it also is the most. I think it's the most Tarantino of the Tarantino movies in me, and it just like rocketed into my brain at the right time. And also, this is a very, very, very specific thing to my viewing experience, but I think it really did help like burn it in my brain, and this was fun. My movie theater in my town had like an upstairs theater where the screen was actually on like the floor level, and it was like a carpeted area, so that the movie screen just looked like it was the people in front of you. So like watching that movie play out where just Uma Thurman is fighting Lucy Liu and it looks like it's real, kind of like it's tricking my brain, is one are maybe the coolest
the experience IMAX wants to give you, but it never really works.
Yeah, all they really have to do is lower the screen a few feet, and this.
The next time you come to LA, I got to take you to the Laser IMAX at the Chinese Theater. That's where we saw Fury Road, and it's basically that. It's just like the biggest laser projected IMAX screen you've ever fucking seen.
Yeah,
and it's
Fury Road is great. It is a movie about turning left, but it is really good.
I never saw Fury Road, but when it came out, I was still working at DC, and they did a co-publishing because it was a Warner movie. So like I proofread a bunch of like Mad Max Fury Road like prequel and like related story comics, but I didn't see the movie. So like I know a lot about the world of Fury Road, but I didn't actually see the movie.
Okay, but so to answer your question of why it stuck with me for so long is basically kind of leads back to what I was saying before, that A, it's got infinite rewatch value. Mm-hmm. B, just even the references that I know so well, watching them all woven together, the more and more I appreciate just how films are made. Watching this crazy thing not fall apart at every moment is almost athletically impressive. And also, it's just a good story.
Brandon, I can see you putting him over her in the background.
All of his movies kind of have that vibe of like, oh, this is an insane thing to have done.
Yep.
Between
all
this
of his movies
or Grindhouse.
They're technically beautiful.
Yeah.
I went years ago, I went to a 10th anniversary screening of Hot Fuzz, where Edgar Wright did a Q&A afterwards with Jordan Peele moderating, which was awesome. And it was like between Get Out and Us. And like the second question he asked was, now that I've made a movie and I know what goes into making a movie, this is fucking crazy, right? And he was like, oh, yeah. And all of Tarantino's movies have that vibe of like, this is fucking wild.
This is insane. It's insane that you pulled this off.
And part of it is the privilege that he got super lucky. He made a great movie right away, and he got basically carte blanche to do whatever he wanted for the rest of his career. Mm-hmm. So I do wonder
if you can write that blank check, fucking do it.
Yeah, I mean, like, I do wonder what other filmmakers who go through the system without having that kind of luck, what could they make if they had that same kind of like privilege to just do whatever they wanted? But
it's called Boyhood.
Yes, which I love, by the way.
Yeah, Boyhood. For the listeners, Alex and I do have like an art fuck streak that I think more than any other movie since we've known each other, Boyhood kind of scratched the same itch for both of us in a way that shit usually doesn't. Because I'd say we have like
I forgot
adjacent
about that movie.
And semi-overlapping tastes.
We are a Venn diagram that occasionally burns itself to the ground.
Oh yeah, like some shit I love, you cannot stand, and vice fucking versa.
I'm sure, but Richard Linklater, it feels nice.
Grand Budapest Hotel, though. Maybe we shouldn't talk about that.
But like Rushmore, okay.
Oh God, Rushmore.
Isle of Dogs.
Isle of Dogs rules.
It's problematic, but it is a solid film.
Yeah.
Maybe not next month, actually. Well, unless putting it out to the chat, does somebody want to come be Brandon's co-host next month? Because I'm going to be shooting in the middle of the woods, so I won't be able to do the show next month. So we either have no show, or let me tell you, we got to do one of these. I think for Twitch, one of these we got to do is just the fucking Wes Anderson roast hour, where you come on and defend every single Wes Anderson movie to me, and I tell you why you're wrong.
It's just going to be me trying to convince you guys that Grand Budapest Hotel is Wes Anderson's best movie. Full stop. Full fucking stop.
You could just record a soundbite of me saying everything's a dollhouse and just hit it like a button. Like,
Yeah, but that's
See,
true, and that's
where-
the appeal. I
where
go to a
Alex
Wes
and I
Anderson because I want
overlap-
to see an ornate dollhouse filled with character actors.
Yeah, where Alex and I overlap and always have, and why I think I actually probably would really enjoy Kill Bill if I watched it. I didn't not watch it on purpose. I just kind of didn't realize, and then suddenly it was Thursday. And I'm super into women beating the shit out of other people, women, men. I'm not picky about it. And also, you and I both have zero tolerance for whimsy.
Yeah, and here's the little
No whimsy.
Here's the little wrinkle is that I have a whimsical streak. I just feel most movies do it really, really wrong, and that's what pisses me off.
See, that's the thing. You're not wrong. Most movies that try to be whimsical are fucking garbage.
Yeah, I have
Has
a
he ever
sweetness
told you
inside
about-
me that
Yeah.
I feel is often betrayed by movies trying to appeal to that sensibility. That's why I
Yeah,
get mad.
I don't mind things being nice or
Yeah.
sweet or pretty or whatever, but I made
Yeah.
it 2 minutes into Amelie and wanted to die, and I turned it off.
I can't hear the word Amelie without just saying it like Justin
Amelie?
McElroy going, Amelie. It's my favorite. I cook an egg with a spoon.
That and his Scott Adams are maybe my two favorite Justin McElroy.
I think Glass Shark is my favorite, but
Glass Shark is pretty good.
I love Glass Shark so much. My cousin is making me a cross stitch for a belated birthday gift that says Glass Shark love fat kid. It's got a shark coming out of the water. It's so good.
I want to give a shout out to their new theme song. It's very dumb and very good.
I was gonna say something, I forgot what it was. So one of the reason I love this movie, because you mentioned watching women beat the shit out of people, is awesome. I think I think it's less of this happens in volume 2 because it's more about her kind of being alone with her own thoughts and kind of fighting out of a corner. The first movie, I mean, it's one movie, but the first volume is all like the game of that movie is it's women being talked down to by men, then they kind of look at each other and go, watch this shit, and then like slice their heads off and like kick them down a time tunnel. Like it's so awesome, and it's very
They're like, we'll have to fight eventually, but for now, let's fuck up these dudes.
Like watching Oren Ishii basically intimidate the patriarchy in one head shop and then give that monologue is so cool, because in that moment she has fought against that attitude for her entire life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, oh, you think I didn't come prepared for all of your little boy nonsense? Because it did.
Yeah, I mean, I actually probably am gonna watch this because this seems really super up my alley. I'm all about just an ass-kicking movie. I also love how they had to come up with so many different snake code names. This is making me laugh reading the cast list.
Yeah, I think I can.
Black Mamba. Oh, okay. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Black Mamba, Copperhead, Cottonmouth, Sidewinder, and the Snake Charmer.
There's one more.
There's one more. Okay, which actor?
L Driver.
L Driver. No, wasn't where L Driver. Who was she?
It's in fairness the stupidest one.
Was she? She wasn't Copperhead. That was Vernita.
No. All the ones you named were also ones. There is one more. It is L Driver, and she admittedly has the stupidest name. So it's not surprising if you forgot.
Why do I want to say
even
Cobra
stupider than
Commander?
Snake Charmer?
Is it stupider than this Oren Ishii Halloween costume, though?
No.
Is anything?
No.
Really? No. It is California Mountain Snake.
Oh, that one is bad. I forgot about
That's bad.
That is pretty bad. Like,
pretty bad.
Yeah,
It
like
doesn't even sound intimidating.
It's one of those things
when the
where-
dead play California Mountain Snake, though, it's just the high notes that Jerry hits are just.
That's what it sounds like. It sounds like a jam band.
California Mountain Snake girl.
No one likes Snake Charmer drums and bass though.
Yeah,
no
Snake,
one likes drums
Snake Charmer
and
into drums into space, back into Snake Charmer was
no
an
one
hour
likes
and a half
drum-
we'll never get back.
No one likes drums and space Charmer. It's not great. It's not great.
No.
But
Well,
Copperhead
way
opening for
to
them was
pitch
fucking
down the
metal.
middle to an audience of one, baby.
Oh, wait. There's a fucking anime sequence in the middle of this?
There sure is, and it's by the.
Why has
guys-
no one mentioned this yet?
Is it in the
It's,
theatrical version?
It is. It's also was drawn by the guy. If you guys ever saw the music video for Linkin Park's "Breaking the Habit," which is like the one Linkin Park song I actually enjoy, it's that artist, and it's so good. It's the story of Oren Ishii, her childhood up to her rise to power, And I'm telling you, this movie is every movie at the same time. It becomes anime for about a good 10 minutes.
Huh.
Yeah, I think I just thought that was a DVD extra that wasn't in the actual theatrical cut. But
no, and like
damn.
there's a scene. Honestly, the moment in that movie, at least in the first volume, that makes me cry every time, is spoilers, obviously, but we're doing a podcast about it.
Is
so
it when she says "silly rabbit"?
Yeah, I weep uncontrollably. When Oren is, her father's just been killed, and then the mob boss kills. You don't see it happening, but she's under the bed hiding, and her mom was on the bed, and the guy gets her with a sword, and blood starts to rain down on her face while this very sad, like I think from a Western string music plays, and it is heartbreaking. It doesn't. It's not gratuitous. It is heartbreaking. And that's, I think, the difference between, that's what I think is the difference between, and I do think he, as an artist, has a bit of an edgelord streak sometimes, and even...
You don't say.
It's come out more recently, or maybe I just grew up a little since then. I don't know. But I do feel that when he is at his best, he's doing stuff that on paper you're like, ugh. But when you see it, you're like, oh, that poor child. Like, it's, the feelings are the most important part of the scene.
That's fair.
There's
also like a lot of his writing is so elevated by the actors, both like the best shit he's ever done, and even like the pussy monologue from Dusk Till Dawn is fine on paper, but Cheech Marin makes it fucking amazing.
Yeah, he makes that thing sing, and he's got a really good eye for casting. I can't think of a role in Kill Bill that I don't think is perfectly role.
Yeah, it's well cast.
Yeah. Is he in
certainly
Kill
well
Bill
cast?
Anywhere? I don't think he is.
No, but do you want to hear a story of something that would have been wildly offensive had he done it?
Absolutely.
Was he going to be the Sam Jackson character? Was he going to be in blackface?
No, he was going to be Pai Mei, the Kung Fu master.
Oh,
and he was going to be in basically
that's bad.
Subtitles on it, and his reason for not doing it, he was too tired.
No,
he was too tired, and I'm like, whoa,
wow.
you dodged a million think pieces there,
Brandon.
fella.
You really missed the punchline by walking away here.
Well, I got
you
to kiss
really
the cat.
missed the punchline. You got to kiss the cat, but you missed that he didn't do it because he was tired.
Yeah.
Oh.
That was his, he's like, I just didn't want to do it, and I thought
not because he thought it was a good idea. It was a bad idea. It was tired.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
actually,
this was when he was still with the Weinsteins, so like maybe they were like, go for it.
Yeah, so like I know one of the questions we got was about the production issues on this, particularly where Uma Thurman like got in a car crash and was like in a fight with him for a while, because apparently that came up again when all the stuff with Weinstein came out, and Uma Thurman was one of the people who sued. That was what finally got Miramax to release the crash footage. And I'm just like looking into the production of this now, and you're right, it's we were talking about how like it's absolutely insane that he did any of this, and looking at it, it says that even though they're presented out of order, they shot chronologically, which like also as an AD who has made a schedule is insane to me. To be able to actually shoot your movie chronologically and get all your locations when you want them and do all of the things in order is an insane way to do a movie.
He went 14 million over budget too.
Oh my god.
Ooh, not surprising. I feel like he often would probably go over budget, knowing him.
That's funny because it says that they cut one scene out because it would have cost an extra $1 million. And I'm like, really? At this point? Who cares?
Yeah. But it is interesting that like I saw that question too, and that I do this movie is it's occupying a very strange place in my life, because I do have to process, and I'm more than happy to process, because I don't want to shut this out, obviously, that like this movie did damage to someone's life. Uma Thurman got permanently hurt because he said that he was like, I guess he thought the road was safe or something. Whatever it was.
Near the end of filming, Thurman was injured in a crash while filming the scene where she drives to Bill. According to Thurman, she was comfortable driving the car, asked a stunt driver to do it, but Tarantino assured her that the car and road were safe. She lost control of the car, hit a tree, suffering a concussion and damage to her knees.
Yeah, which is unacceptably irresponsible for him to do. And I read that and I was really, really upset. And then obviously I don't know into it. He knew about Weinstein for 20 years, did jack shit, even though he was dating Mira Sorvino, and Harvey Weinstein attacked her. And then Uma Thurman, he tried twice, and I was like, dude, you knew. And he was like, well, I thought maybe it was more like he, had crushes on them. I'm like, no, they told you did nothing. And then we all just kind of acted like it didn't happen and he had another hit. And I was like, no. So I this movie and this artist, for something I've gotten so much joy out of, has has evolved and evolved and evolved over my life. And now I'm like, the product's great, but it's not worth the damage I think it did.
Yeah.
That's
I
fair.
don't.
Oh my God.
I don't want to act like, well, it's a good
lasted-
movie, so it's worth it. No, it's not. It's just, but I
Yeah.
have to wrestle with that fact for the rest of my life.
And I think that will tend to happen with
155 days.
shit, dog.
Sorry, the production lasted 100. No wonder they were able to shoot it in order. 155 days.
I
If I
don't
had to work on any movie for 155 days, I'd fucking kill myself.
I think it was on the bonus features of Inglourious Bastards, but there's a behind the scenes clip of Quentin Tarantino that I feel like is one of the most telling Quentin Tarantino things I've ever seen, where he is he's
sucking toes and dropping bombs.
It's the scene in the movie theater in Bastards where they set it on fire. And they're in there, and it's Tarantino, and he's giving some directions, and you can see that the entire crew and cast are just fucking exhausted. And he goes, all right, but we're gonna do it. And you know why? Because we love making movies. And when he said it, the rest of the crew went, we love making movies. Which is just
I
like,
love making movies too,
boy.
but there are movies that at a certain point I'm like, I don't want to be making this movie anymore.
I think Tarantino might be one of the last auteurs that gets away with horrible shit to people.
I mean, other than Woody Allen.
Hopefully he's done, but I think that era of filmmaker is because they're being exposed and made to be held accountable for the shit they've done, even if it's just irresponsible with how long you make people work, whatever it is, just that every and it comes through in their art as well, because I liked Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It was so long that I was like, someone needs to say no to you for a lot of reasons, and nobody's doing it. We don't need to see this driving sequence twice in 10 minutes.
Oh, that one I was bored
right,
too.
babe?
I forgot that was him.
I loved a lot about it, and I hate a lot about it. So I go back and forth. It's kind of a comfort food.
We watched it, and then you were like, "Oh, it would make more sense if you knew." I went and I looked up all this stuff about old cowboy movies, and then I went back to see it a second time, and it was so much more enjoyable, is what people have said. And I'm like, I don't want to go see a movie that I have to have done research into the aesthetic of for me to understand.
It was at that age
and that's fine if you want to make that as a movie, but don't then bill it as a general audience movie.
That movie in particular, because I knew that it was it was something Manson. We didn't know exactly how he was involved yet, and we knew that it was about a TV cowboy struggling with his career becoming irrelevant. And I was like, okay, this is either going to be like a Kill Bill style thing where they fight the Mansons or something, and that's part of it, or it's going to be just vomiting film references, but not in the fun way like Kill Bill, but just part of the. And it was kind of both. There's moments Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I'm like, dude, these references are distracting from the mistakes with this, And sometimes, and then maybe, I think it gets better on a rewatch, but I didn't think it should have been. First of all, it shouldn't have been. It shouldn't be just all that shit we found out about him didn't happen and giving him a hit. That was fucked up. But also,
that's gonna
happen. It's gonna happen, obviously.
It sucks, but
it sucks. Yeah. But
back in reboot.
Yes, and And it works really well as 2 because I had a year to go, what's going to happen? I bought the first ticket to Volume 2 in my town that went for sale. I was right there.
Nice.
I am proud of that.
I respect that.
Yeah.
I respect the hell out of that.
Was that the time? I thought it was a little shorter than that. I thought it was like 9 months between volumes.
Maybe it was like 2003, 2004.
It was released
so
the next year.
It was definitely the next year, but I didn't think it was a full calendar year between.
I think it was probably a hair under that. But
like that.
and the cliffhanger of Volume 1, does she know her daughter's still alive, is so cool. And I'm not sure, but I think they made a cut called The Whole Bloody Affair, which is just, it's one film. And I think I heard somewhere they cut that part out. I'm like, but that's so good.
That's the point.
Yeah, and it's like,
honestly, 111 minutes for the first one is not a bad runtime for a Quentin Tarantino movie.
Under 2 hours.
Volume 2 is 136.
Yeah, Volume 2 drags a smidge. It's still really great, but it drags a bit, especially toward the end when she's literally been injected with truth serum and they have to do monologues at each other. Even though those scenes are good, it's like, come on, Kill Bill, please.
Volume 1 is the more like outwardly flashy of the two, I think, because it's got the big Crazy 88's fight. It's where a lot of the like more showy shit happens.
Yeah. It's
the
where
second
most
one
of
is
the
where a
gifts
lot of
come
the
from.
character stuff lives.
Yeah. So to answer your question, it's the release date on Volume 1 is October 10th, 2003, and the U.S. there was a Cinerama Dome premiere the week before, but the official release in the rest of the U.S. is April 16th, 2004.
Oh,
so it's like
I would have loved to see
October, November, December, January, February, March. It's just 6 months.
An eternity for 17-year-old Alex.
Yeah, right.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I would have loved to seen that at the Cinerama Dome. That seems like where Quentin Tarantino is making movies for. He's making them for the Cinerama Dome, and he's making them for the New Beverly.
Yeah.
Well, does the New Beverly exist anymore?
I sure hope it will.
Wait, no, doesn't he own it? That's the one he owns.
Yeah.
Okay, it's still there. So before we wrap up, we gathered from the point of this, I should watch this movie. But in a similar vein, if you had like other, as much as we've also discussed he's problematic, what's your other Quentin Tarantino hits? If somebody's like, okay, you liked Kill Bill, where do you direct them next if you want them to get into Quentin Tarantino?
Or non-Tarantino things that maybe scratch the same itch.
Okay, I'll go through Tarantino first, and I'll see if I think of anything. Pulp Fiction is the most rewatchable movie of all time, for my money. You could make a compelling argument that Quentin Tarantino peaked almost immediately and then just stayed good. But he did, like, his second movie is like I know it's a better movie than Kill Bill, but Kill Bill's my favorite.
I feel the same way about Django.
Fine. You're allowed to have a favorite.
Yeah, I love The Hateful Eight. Oh, it has massive problems.
Yeah, Hateful Eight fucking whips. People gave that movie way too much shit.
It's really good. It's just about 20 minutes too long because his editor, Sankey, I want to say right after Death Proof passed away, and that I think was a reining in effort. And then he got a different editor, Fred Raskin, who's just, I think, not telling him to cut some stuff as much as maybe we should.
They should have just done it as a play with the cast for like 2 weeks on Broadway and filmed that.
I would love that so much. And
he's like, I'd be into it.
Yeah, I'd be so into it. All
right, so we got Hateful Eight. I have seen Inglourious Bastards.
Yeah, Bastards.
I saw that one with him.
Bastards is a good one to bring up too, because that, in a lot of ways, is also kind of, it's a war movie pastiche and also a Western kind of pastiche at the same time. So it's more focused in terms of referencing, but it's a lot of references. Django is more just a very specific subgenre of the Corbucci spaghetti Westerns. It's not referenced like at mile a minute. You could also start with some of the movies that inspired Kill Bill, like Lady Snowblood. It takes very heavily from.
Oh, I've heard Lady Snowblood is fucking amazing.
Yeah, and there are, honestly, you could go through a list of just movies that he just chunks of and made into Kill Bill. Like The House of Blue Leaves is very similar to, I can't remember, I want to say Enter the Dragon, but I can't remember. It's a Bruce Lee film where literally he's wearing the bride's jumpsuit and like it's.
Oh, yeah.
And the fight,
I think it is Enter the Dragon,
with Oren Ishii is a lot like the Lady Snow, that kind of samurai, like specifically in like a winter setting. If you like Volume
Game
2,
of Death.
Game of Death, that's what it was.
It was never finished.
if you want more Volume 2, I'd say watch at least a few Sergio Leone movies, because that's a big kind of influence of the, like, Once Upon a Time in the West, which I saw at the New Beverly.
Oh my God!
There are
please
scenes
stop.
that are like when she crawls out of the grave and then does that slow walk toward the camera, like with the sun. That is a big reference to a shot in that movie. So like,
Leone's a huge influence in like the back half of his career.
Absolutely, and Corbucci too, who is not as good as Leone, I think, but has made some really good ones. Like
he made the original Django,
yeah, which is very good.
Mm-hmm.
Great Silence is really good too. But Leone is, I think, for my money, probably the biggest influence on him. And then I would say if you like the Pai Mei stuff, look at like some 70s kung fu movies. I don't personally love those movies because I feel like the story is the same in every one, and the fighting is like not the most impressive. So unless it gets like really weird and creative, I'm just kind of bored by those movies. But like if you like that part, then because Pai Mei is a character who's been in other 70s kung fu movies. That's
okay.
Like I think it's also from Legend, so it's like kind of lifted from both of those. And also, you know, oddly enough, like Brandon and I were talking about, we have our little art fuck streak.
My Dinner with Andre, baby.
Yeah. Where
did I? No, never mind.
The genesis of kind of Tarantino's movie aesthetic is somewhere between the grindhouse 70s Western action movie kung fu stuff, but also like the really quiet, like European, like French New Wave stuff. So like, I don't love Godard, but Godard was a big influence on stuff like Pulp Fiction, because So
you're selling me on Tarantino more than any Tarantino movie I've ever seen.
So this is the last thing I'll say, and this, I want you to keep this in mind with whatever Tarantino movie you.
I mean, it's gonna be this. I'm gonna have to go watch this now.
Please do. Is that the game he likes to play is not so much in the Kill Bill. So there's two universes. I gotta wind up a pause. There's the realer than real.
You're gonna
universe.
wind up talking about Red Apple cigarettes, aren't you?
It's in every one of the films, even Hateful Eight, Manzana Roja. So there's two universes of Tarantino. There's the realer than real, which is Pulp Fiction, which is Reservoir Dogs, True Romance, he wrote, where all the characters, almost in a Marvel way, kind of know each other and like bounce off each other. And then there's the movie universe, like Kill Bill, Dusk Till Dawn, which have been proven to be in the same universe because they share a character. That is movies those characters would go see, which leads to my fan theory that the bride is played by Mia Wallace. But I don't think that's probably true. I just like to think it might be.
That seems like the sort of thing that he would like get a little hard about.
Though.
Yeah, I think it's implied by Pulp Fiction that she's not a great actress, so I think that's probably not true. But if I'm right, I'm going to be very impressed with myself. So the game that he likes to play more in the realer than real universe, but it's still kind of his sensibility and often like where jokes come from, and is in the more fantastical stuff, is it's crime stuff or tropes you've seen a billion times, but how they would play out in the real world. So like Pulp Fiction, Jules and Vince show up to go kill those guys, and they knock on the door, and then it doesn't open for like 30 seconds, and they just kind of stand there like assholes going, do we like knock again? Like just little life intruding on tropes. So it's like, that's not supposed to happen, and it did, and it's really funny, like stuff like that.
It's just the human moments injected into a very kind of like self-serious genre. Like
the unexpected
noirs
movies
don't tend to have a lot of like moments of levity that aren't like
like the, you know, the whole John Travolta Uma Thurman plot is the classic, like, take the boss's daughter out, but don't touch her, and then it looks like that might happen, but then she ODs on heroin, so they got a problem. Like, so keep that in mind, and I think it improves. I mean, the movies are great fun anyway, but it improves if you know that. Yeah. So
okay.
So
well, that's like how the first I was first able to enjoy Wes Anderson movies, when somebody gave me a game to play when I watched them, basically. We don't have to get into that right now because our time is up and we got to wrap up. We don't have a 9, but there is the show at 10 called Please Talk to Me with I think that's Please Talk to Me is after us. I'm sorry. I'm going to go look because I'm a bad person not saying. But anyway, oh yeah, tell it you had a whole story about these sunglasses when we first showed up.
These are the sunglasses. These are the sunglasses that she steals off of Buck, and when she's on the way to kill Bill driving the pussy wagon.
Ooh.
Very
special. Is that what she crashed?
Leave there. It died on her. but I believe these are Elvis sunglasses, but she just takes them as a disguise. I bought these on eBay when I was probably all of 17 years old, and I still have them.
I thought you were gonna say hi.
Nah. All right. If people wanted to find more Alex Fossella content out there in the world, where could they find you? Tell us about your stuff. It's plug time.
Yeah, so I have a podcast called Modern Day Philosophers that I write for, where my friend Danny LaBelle interviews comedians and actors about philosophy and philosophers that I write about for them. We've had guests like Carl Reiner. We had Mark Maron was early on, Bill Burr. We have been said no to by some very famous people as well, like Jerry Lewis and Larry David, very publicly. Go through the list. I don't know how he gets these people. I think he just walks up to them at parties, says, do my podcast, and sometimes it works. I also have a podcast called Broadway Baby, where I thought I hated musicals till I was 30 years old, and then I was sad I could never be a theater kid. So my two friends, Kimberly and Jay Schmidt, who are a very sweet married couple of theater nerds, they teach me about musicals every week, and when this podcast is over, I am gonna kill.
Wait a minute. I thought we were the only couple you did podcasts with.
I'm in a poly-podcast relationship.
A pod.
Well, there you go.
I'm podcast amorous.
Yeah.
Polyamorous.
Yeah, there it is.
All right. Well, with that, I mean, you can see me and Brandon's info on the screen. If you want to follow us at @IntuitPod. And if you're watching this, we are on the Pack Theater stream. They are generously giving us a spot to do this every month. They've got great classes. They're still doing shows every night of the week. If you want to kick them a little bit of money, they don't really get any money from our Twitch streams, so that would be pretty rad. You can see it down in the bottom corner. I don't really know which way I'm pointing, but
you're
on
pointing at the picture of my dinner with Andre.
Basket side. Shh, it's fine. I figured it out. You can Venmo at Pack-Theater. I'm taking the advanced VO class right now. Brandon's in the intro to VO class right now.
It's so
they
good.
do lots of great stuff, even
it's really
even
good.
in the quarantine. So check an eye on that. There'll be new classes in the spring. And yeah, like I said, there's no 9 o'clock show, but at 10 o'clock, the show Please Talk to Me with Ali Ramirez is on. It's a call-in show.
I've done that show. It's fun.
It'll be a good time. Yeah, it's a great time. So come back at 10 if you want. Go get yourself a drink. Come on back. We've still got more programming going tonight. Thank you so much, Alex, for joining us, especially as you are on the East Coast and it is now midnight there. We would like to let you go. Thank you so much for coming and being our #1 podcast guest most episodes.
Yay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Woo. And if you want to hear more from Alex on us, like we said, he was on our show. We've talked about the Mountain Goats, Hamilton, and Cats. So please subscribe, and we'll see you in our feed. With that, Brandon. Actually, it looks like he's still playing with this photo of Dinner with Andre.
All that being said, podcast Andre.
Oh my God.